Welcome everyone. So today what we're going to talk about is when to wait for a 15-minute confirmation versus when to wait for a 30-minute confirmation. This is very, very important because a lot of time, like, when price is moving, or let's say if price is breaking out of a resistance or breaking down below a support, and the 15-minute candle is closing and the 30-minute candle is about to start, and you're thinking, should I enter at the 15-minute candle close? Should I enter on the 30-minute candle close? Now the thing is, there are a lot of different variations that can occur, right? So the best thing to do is what I always talk about is to see how price moves, how price breaks through zones, when it's a 15-minute candle close, 30-minute candle close, what happens, and over time, then you start to develop this intuition, right? And that's what we call experience in watching candles move. And then you're able to determine whether, okay, I should be waiting for the 15-minute candle to close right here and then execute on the 30-minute, or I should wait for the 30-minute candle to close and then execute after the 30-minute candle closes. So we're gonna get right to that right now. Okay, so we're gonna keep things extremely simple. So we're gonna go over like simple basics. I'm sure we already know about the basics. We already know about wicks, how candles move, how candles close. So we're gonna go over some different scenarios where you're able to see whether you should wait for the 15-minute or you should be waiting for the 30-minute candle. So, okay. So for example, let's say we have a support area, right? We got a support area and we have a candle, which is, for example, we have a bearish candle at this point and it has a big wick down at the bottom. Now, for example, let's say we're looking at the 30-minute time frame, okay? We got a 30-minute time frame, we have a candle with a wick that broke below, and now we have a wick at this point. Now, when you're looking on the 15-minute time frame, what you're going to see is you might see that on the 15-minute, a candle is bearish at this point and it's coming down, right? Now, if this is the first half, let me write it right over here. If this is the first half of the 30-minute candle, we know that this candle has to close for us to determine whether the 30-minute candle is closing or not, right? So once the 15-minute candle looks like this, you got a wick to the left-hand side, which maybe corresponds to kind of like the same wick here to the left-hand side. Now, once the 15-minute candle has closed at this point and the 30-minute candle is still open, and that's going to look like something, let's say, like this, right? So 30-minute candle is still open, and 30-minute candle is open, 15-minute candle has closed. Now, in this scenario, what do you think? What do you think, right? The 15-minute candle has closed below support, there's a wick to the left-hand side, the 30-minute candle is still open, and there's a wick to the left-hand side. The most important thing is to understand wicks, right? Wicks, wick rejections versus wick fills. We've already talked about the difference between wick rejections and wick fills, right? So, okay. The 30-minute candle is still open, the 15-minute candle has closed. The 15-minute has closed below support. This is not a strong confirmation that the next candle is going to go down because the 30-minute candle is open, and as the 30-minute candle is still open, it can reject from this area, right? You have to understand, if the 30-minute candle came down, we rejected this area, this current candle also has the probability to reject from this area, which means that the next 15-minute candle can potentially wick down and then move right back up. Okay, if it's not going to move right back up, what there's a probability about is that the next 15-minute candle, it may go bearish and it may reject this area as well. So this is not a strong confirmation. So in this scenario, you have to wait for the 30-minute candle to close, because let's say if the 30-minute candle closes like this, now you have a strong enough confirmation that the next 30-minute candle, it may wick up and then continue on pushing down because the 30-minute candle itself, it closed below support. So in this scenario, you have to wait for the 30-minute candle to close because there's a rejection here to the left-hand side. For example, second thing, if let's say there was no rejection, right? Let's say there was no rejection and the 15-minute candle closed below these candles right here and the 30-minute candle is still open at this point, then this is a good opportunity to take the 15-minute candle close as a good confirmation that the next candle has a higher probability to continue down. Make sense? So if you're taking notes, okay, you have to take notes. If you're taking notes, this is important. What we talked about is, I'm going to repeat this again. Number one, if you have a rejection to the left hand side, okay? We have a rejection to the left hand side and the 15-minute candle closed in this rejection area and the 30-minute candle is still open. This is not a good confirmation to take a sell because the 30-minute candle is still open. We don't know whether the next 30-minute candle or whether this current 30-minute candle is going to reject like this and maybe go up or not. We don't know that, right? So that's why it's important to wait for the 30-minute candle to close if we have wicks to the left hand side. The same goes true if price is moving up. If you have a wick rejection to the left hand side and the 15-minute candle is open and you're waiting for the 30-minute candle to close, okay? So whenever you have wicks to the left hand side after price is breaking, let's say a support or it's breaking above a resistance, you need to wait for the 30-minute candle to close because that's going to give you a much stronger confirmation that price can continue pushing up. Very important. And this is the difference between winning and losing because, if you have a 30-minute candle that's still open at this point and we're bearish and the 15-minute candle has closed, and let's say you take a sell, okay? Let's say you take a sell right here and the 30-minute candle starts to reject and starts to go up. What are you going to do? It's going to be a loss because you entered prematurely because there were low confirmations. You didn't wait for the 30-minute candle to close. So whenever you have a wick rejection to the left hand side, I would say just wait for the 30-minute candle to close because then you're going to get a very strong confirmation that price may continue pushing down. Now, someone may ask, oh, okay, Raja, let's say the 15-minute candle close bearish like this, and on the 30-minute candle and on the 30-minute time frame, the candles look something, like this. We closed in this scenario right this. What are you going to do? The best thing to do at this point is to obviously take a sell because we closed below support. The previous candle rejected this area and closed above support, but this 30-minute candle was so strong, it had such great volume. Yeah. This is only going to be possible when there's volume in the market. You got your pre-London, you got your London Open, you got your pre-New York, New York Open, NYSE. Like we all know the times when there's volume in the market. This is only true when there's volume in the market. You have to wait for the volume in the market. Now, when the 30-minute candle closes below, you're like, okay, let me take a sell. The sell, let's say your stop is above the 30-minute, and let's say this is a 25 pip stop or a 30 pip stop, and someone might say, okay, you know what, that's a very, very big stop loss. Then maybe you may want to have stop above the 15-minute candle to keep the stop smaller and then anticipate the next candle to continue pushing down. So this is where you're basically not waiting for the 15-minute to close and waiting for the 30-minute candle to close. Okay, so let's go over again the example where we talked about what's the best scenario to wait for the 15-minute candle to close. So let's say again, okay, so in this example, we're going to talk about, let's say we have a resistance, right? So you got a resistance, we have a candle that was bullish, and it rejected this area right here. This is a 30-minute time frame, and now we're looking at the 15-minute time frame, which looks like this. Okay. Oh, actually, no. Let's say this is a smaller wick. There's no rejection. 15-minute candles like this. Right now, if the next 15-minute candle we break and close above, and now the 30-minute candle kind of like looks like this, but it's still open. The 15-minute candle has broken and closed above. This is a good opportunity for you to say, okay, you know what? We don't have a rejection to the left hand side. We have a candle that's closing above a resistance. There's pretty good volume coming up. So now I think there's a very good possibility that the 30-minute candle can continue pushing bullish. And then you're going to say maybe this is a great idea to take a buy after the candle has closed above resistance. Okay, but if we had a wick rejection to the left hand side, let's say like this, then we don't know whether the 30-minute candle is going to close above or not, because the previous candle went above resistance, it rejected this area and closed below resistance. So we need some strong confirmation. So in this case, when we have rejection to the left hand side, you have to wait for the 30-minute candle to close, right? Which will mean that you're waiting for the next 15-minute to close, which may close, something like this, or whatever it may close. We know that the 15-minute confirmations are low or like weak confirmations when you have rejections to the left hand side. So let's say the 30-minute candle closes like this. Now you have strong confirmation that the previous candle could not close above, and this new candle closed above this area, which means now you have a very good confirmation that the next candle has a higher probability in time of volume to continue driving bullish. Make sense? You may have to watch this over and over again and then kind of like see, if this makes sense or not. Now, we're going to talk about another scenario here, because there are different scenarios and the candles form in different ways, and candle closed in different ways, and 15-minute candles and 30-minute candles, and you got to take a look at the 1 hour time frames and 4 hour time frame. So we're going to take a look at another scenario over here. Let's say, for example, you got a resistance right here, and you got a 30-minute candle that closes above resistance. Okay, you got a 30-minute candle that closes above resistance. That's perfect. Right? That's perfect, because now you got a candle that's closing above resistance. So this gives you a good idea that there's okay, let me put this right here. Now this gives you a really good idea that there's a high probability for the next candle to continue up. Now if we look at a resistance in this area, the 15-minute candle is probably going to look something like this. You got a bullish candle coming up 15-minute, and then you got another 15-minute candle that moves up, and you're like, okay, there's a high probability for the next 30-minute candle to continue driving up. So that's a really good buy indication, because you waited for the 30-minute candle to close above this area, and if there's volume, price is going to continue to push up. All right, so it's very simple, not that hard. All you got to do is pay attention to see how candles are moving. Very, very simple concept. Great idea to just simply watch and see how price moves in the beginning, because in the beginning, you may not get it 100%. In the beginning, you may be like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna wait, I'm not gonna wait, and sometimes you may miss trades, you may miss moves, and trust me, man, I've missed so many trades like this just to get it right. So again, we're gonna recap the whole thing again. If you have rejections to the left hand side and there's a big wick, you have to wait for a higher confirmation candle or a higher time frame candle to close in that zone, because only then that wick rejection is going to become a wick fill. We've talked about that in other webinars as well. So I hope this little topic was helpful. Now I know it's going to take some practice. It's going to take some experience as well for you to like sit and watch price move. Sometimes you miss moves. That's totally fine if you miss moves, because a missed move is an opportunity to learn. A missed move is an opportunity to gather the information and put it in your arsenal, and then the next time it happens, you can execute on it. So take care. If you have any questions, of course, you can reach us, or you can us, it's just me. Or you can reach me in the Slack, private DM, in the channel or whatever, tag me, and then we're going to answer some questions. So take care.